Okay, so to get to a lot of the stuff I'm currently working on, I have to remove the gas tank, which is, as you can see, very, very large. So actually on a BMW gas tank, this is in the rear, only this half is the gas tank. This half is a trunk thing. So that's fuel dealio. Now, of course, this has a bunch of gas in it, so that was fun. But when I pull it apart, there's two lines coming off the fuel filter, blah, blah, blah. I labeled them A and B because these two lines right here, okay, whoops, that's a little too much. Okay, top line A, bottom line B. I noticed a bunch of monkey business going on with a tube that looked like that. Seemed kind of funky. So what the deal was is there is a split in this line. Now it looks like the line is metal lined, or like copper or something. But there's a big old split in here. And needless to say, it creates a leak. And instead of fixing it right, replacing this line, they just put a bunch of frickin' splits in the line. So anyway, this is line A, which will go up into the gas tank. And line B, the trashed one, which I'm going to try to order today, that line goes into the gas tank. I'm actually learning. When you do jobs like this and you've never done them, you do a lot of YouTube research, and I have a degree in YouTubeonology, in case you didn't know. But anyway, originally what started this nightmare is I was bleeding the brakes. So while bleeding the brakes, I'm pumping it, testing the brakes, and this rear line pops right at the banjo point. So that kind of sucked because when it popped, it screwed up my window. Launched brake fluid, and if anybody knows, brake fluid sucks. It'll ruin your paint. You definitely got to soapy water right away. But anyway, didn't know it was up there. So that window, I'm going to have to redo the wet sanding. But anyway, so this line broke, and it only runs. Oh, that feels good when you put a screw through your knee. So it runs here, up across here, and joins to this point. Then we've got metal brake lines all the way through. You can see I just squirt, okay? And because it's brake fluid, I will clean it right away. And then, for giggles, my shop is full of projects right now. To deactivate it, I'm going to spray the crap out of it. Okay. So anyway, that being said, this brake pumps here, goes through this point, pumps up through all the monkey business, goes through all the things, and it ends up in here. And then you have the reservoir for the rear brakes right here. Now, if you follow the lines, which I'm going to replace, they go up here, blah, blah, blah. You work into this point, you have the one under the forward master cylinder. This line will go here, a banjo, feed through here. Another banjo dumps down this, which goes to your lower one on the front. It has a little pre-built manifold. They call it integral if it's like mine, which is built in, or the other one, which is kind of modular. So the modular one basically has a threaded version of that. Then this line here goes around on this side and goes down and connects to the front fork brake here. This is equivalent to an encoder mechanism. So when this thing is running, this is sending signals about what your like RPM, all that kind of stuff's got going on. I noticed when I slide my hand here, actually you can probably see it, these disc brakes, especially the back, you can see that groove. I'm going to order a whole new set of disc brakes. Then I've got my tail light installed. These are $300, but I bought it used for $29. Back tire, pretty nasty. That will get replaced. What we would call the right side, passenger side, normally has a little box thing that mounts right here. That's what this is to. And that was a charcoal container, which is basically an emissions type of dealio. The whole purpose of that is to recycle these two lines, which you don't see them because they're connected there. There's two lines that come off the gas tank, and they run across like this, through here, and then they plug in to that charcoal thing. And the idea is fuel gets into it on overflow, weird things like that, and then it's supposed to absorb it and reburn it and all that monkey business. The bottom line is they're a joke, and they can cause like $600-700 worth of damage if it kicks back through here and your bike does some monkey business. So I'm hearing. I personally haven't had that issue, but that's what they say. Now, this is a brand new battery, but you'll notice it has got a charge plug on it. And the reason people are doing that is because the ABS braking system on these bikes is kind of a bummer. You'll turn the ignition on, and these things will start doing that all the time. The reason it's doing that is because when it takes its voltage reading from the computer about ABS, it's taking it before the bike is started, which means it kind of takes a voltage reading that's a little bit too low, and then it kicks an error message into the CPU on the bike, and then it starts flashing. So what happens is, realistically, it should wait till the bike's running, which would kick up about 13 volts, and it would solve that problem, but instead, it's taking like a 12.6 or something. Now, what people do, they will put a charge jack on here. They will leave the charger on, start it in the morning till this ABS brake system catches it and realizes what's going on, and then they'll disconnect their charge thing. A pain in the ass. So people will disconnect that kind of stuff. The way they do that is they'll get into this mob of wiring and they cut these lines, and I think they're a bunch of green ones. I'm going to try it first, see if I feel comfortable with it. But if I don't like it, I'll drop ABS, because they do say ABS is kind of freaky on a bike. It's like the bike stops braking when it thinks it needs to, and sometimes when you bump the bike, that'll create a problem, like you're riding over bumps. And then anyway, back to that line that's got the fuel problem is this line right here coming from this piece over and all that kind of stuff. Now this line here, you see I labeled charcoal. That's to that charcoal sensor, and there's a little vacuum pot that goes right here, and it comes up to a T. And what I do is lop it off, screw hole it, shove a screw in there, and just disconnect this. Some of these things are to police lighting that's been removed, and that kind of thing. This piece here, I'm going to put cool lighting in there because that's the outside of the fairing. I'm going to bolt into that, but that's designed for their little roll cage assembly. The other thing is these spark plugs, you're going to need a thin wall to get into them, which is a nightmare. because if you don't have thin wall, it's not going to work. This is the radio box, which is not quite big enough to do a lot of things with, but it could be cool for a little cooler. Down here are the release points. See if I can see them. Can't really see that little deal right there. Those two take off this whole brake assembly, the brake lights. You can see I have the cowlings removed. I've removed all the police striping. I'm going to repaint all of that. The window mechanism is pretty cool. You turn that on, use the screen thing, and your window goes up and down. And what's really cool about that is it gets the air completely off you. This switch here, actually, I think I disconnected that. One of these switches, I think it's this one, on this bike is designed to go into blackout mode. It shuts off all your lights. And as you know, newer cars and stuff, you can't really shut off your lights. If you're driving at night, it's going to have some kind of lighting. This is the Go Cruise, real generic. It's just a clamp. And the way it works is you tighten this up, you push this down, and the idea is when you're cruising, you push it, you pull it where you want, you push this down with your hand, and then now it's staying in that mode. And to get out of cruise, you circle it back around. Freaks me out, but I guess that's the thing. And let's see. These lights right here, just the mirror from BMW is $350. That's just the glass. And then you have the housing. Well, the BMW mirrors, you punch them from the rear and knocks that whole piece off because the clamps are one way. They clamp in like this. My mirrors are broken, so I ordered a new set. So we cruise over here to see the new set, and you will see that purchase these online on like eBay for 99 bucks. They are not slide off type, so you don't remove these by knocking the mirror forward. You remove them by knocking the mirror outward, because you can see it's a crimp type clamp. So when that bad boy's on there, you get your mirror. 99 bucks for the full set. Definitely a way to go. And apparently the reason these mirrors are so cheap and easy to get is because China, Europe, and a bunch of places use the BMW motorcycle as a police bike, and so replacement parts are pretty easy to get. I removed two lighting switches here that have to do with lights and siren. This to me looks like, I don't know what that is. It almost looks like an audio jack. Lighting areas, you can connect some lights on there. So anyway, that's the gist of it. Now when you go to bleed these, you see all these bleed lines like freaking crazy. Actually, mine looks a little different than the ones I see online. So what you have, ABS, front and rear kind of thing. So when you bleed everything else, you're also bleeding these. So this is the ABS system. It's basically the computer kind of driven dealio. Let's see. You'll notice there's no chain. It's shaft drive. And that's it. It also has a stiffener. And I'm not really sure how these work. It does have a hydraulic line, so that's interesting. But apparently, let's see if I can pull that and get a feel for what it's doing. Where's my line? Anyway, my understanding is it goes to the stiffening of the rear shock. Not sure how that works. Haven't researched that yet. I've reconditioned these bags. They looked really dumpy, but you can see they look pretty nice now. Those bolts and slide on and lock on here. I saw some exhaust online I'd like to get if I decide to keep the bike. Right now, it's just a bike to flip. But Jet wants to say hi. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, that's my son Jet, and he's super smart. But he's really jonesing because he's agitated because I took the cell phone and he's doing some stuff. So anyway, that's the gist of it. One more thing real fast. Get online and you order parts. These are called shark fins. And all they do is when you have the housing here, it steers the air on this onto the head. On my bike, again, I'm new to this, I'm not a pro, but on my bike, when I started messing with stuff, kind of tracing, see if there's any leaks or anything, because right now I'm definitely a cosmetic dude. You can see the alternator right there. This on both sides is stripped, so that might be a common problem. Stripped. It's not completely stripped, but it doesn't tighten down. The good part is this is just the valve cover, so I'll probably helicoil that and repair it so it doesn't leak or anything. The other thing I noticed during an inspection after ripping it apart, you can see that right there. That broke loose. The way I'll fix that, the only way you can fix it is JB weld and put a metal hanger. So because that's a narrow piece right there, it's hollow. I'm just gonna JB weld. I'll clean it up really good. JB weld it. Use a hanger to pull that tight and let it cure. And then I'll put a piece of metal that joins this piece here to this right here is hollow. So imagine you got JB weld. I'll run a hanger. I'll anchor it here, pull it tight, and then anchor it, and that'll be supportive. That's a pretty common problem on Kawasaki's. Actually, anything with a big fairing. That joint that mates up in there tends to break. That's from hitting something like a curb or whatever with your front tire. It'll pop it. Not super huge, but what it tends to do is it makes your front fairing cowling area a little sloppy until it's completely bolted up to everything. Kawasaki or BMWs, you got, I think it's 4 mounting screws in the top that are actually like this. So this ends up like that, and you'll have 4 like this and down, and then a million other ones. So it's actually pretty sturdy, definitely industrial. And this right here, front fender on your son, look like a spaceman. Chetty's a spaceman, oh my gosh. Pretty cool. Okay, well, you can see his stress. He's autistic, and he definitely wants his phone, my phone back. So there you go, people. The long 18-minute project to give you an idea what I'm dealing with.